When I was a little kid back in the 70s, I would say major influences, obviously for drumming, was Peter Criss. I wanted to be Peter Criss. But I think that when I look at bands, some of the bands that I listened to the most was probably bands that my older brothers liked a lot. So there was 3 of us. We all had a room upstairs in Detroit. So there was one record player. So my oldest brother kind of controlled the turntable. So I would say the bands that I listened to the most in the 70s when I was a little kid in Detroit was definitely Kiss. Kiss was number 1. Those records were always on the turntable, 100%. Other bands were The Who, the Beatles, obviously. That's my favorite band, is the Beatles. With the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC with Bon Scott, the Kinks were played a lot. Jay Giles Band, the Romantics, the Police. Later on, as we were getting close to the 80s, there was a lot of Police, and the Clash as well. But I would say the band that was played the most during the 70s was definitely Kiss. Then, of course, Van Halen, too. The old Van Halen, first couple records. But there's a lot of bands, but those probably are the most played when I was a kid. Kiss Alive, for sure, in regards to live record. And I would say the second one was definitely Cheap Trick, live at Budokan. So my older brothers and I, we always loved music. And the other day, on a group text message with my high school buddies, one of my high school buddies, real close friend, great guy, he referred to me as Rock Jesus, which, I thought was clever. But that's true, I guess, that's pretty cool that he called me Rock Jesus. That's cool. But anyways, yeah, call me Rock Jesus. That's awesome. I agree. I agree. But yeah, always liked music. I know when I was a little kid, everybody, knew that I loved music and I played the drums. So I was kind of known for being a little rocker and a drummer. I was also known for being the Cherry Kid too. That's a pretty good story in the 70s. Mid-70s, 77, 78. About the time I went as Gene Simmons for Halloween. Gene Simmons of Kiss. Neighbor next door, older lady. It was in the summer, and she came over with a bushel of cherries that they had picked from a cherry farm, big bushel. And I was a little kid, so my brothers were in the backyard swimming. My parents, I think, were out shopping, and I just ate the whole bushel, most of it, So never really had cherries like that, so they were delicious. They were really juicy. They were fantastic. Well, later that night, I don't know, about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, my parents were out for the evening. My older brothers were watching me. Probably they were upstairs listening to Kiss on the turntable. I was in the living room on the rocker, and I just felt it hit me pretty quick. So I ran to the bathroom, started taking off my pajamas, but I didn't make it. So the whole bathroom, shower curtain, window, ceiling, were all covered in diarrhea. So my older brothers had to clean it up. It was terrible. It was all over the place. The whole bathroom was just completely drenched in diarrhea. So the next day, the next day I went outside, and one of my older brother's friends, Joe, he just kind of laughed and called me the Cherry Kid. So I guess that was something I was known for as well back in the 70s. Was known as the Cherry Kid. So as the 80s came, my older brothers, they kind of pivoted more towards punk rock. A lot of Clash, U2, a lot of new wave, Billy Idol, his band Generation X, and I listened to it and I liked it. But it was then, I think it was 1980, is when I bought Ozzy's first record, his first solo record, and I think from that point on, I just went in a different direction. I just went to the hard rock, heavy metal deal in the 80s for sure. So it was Ozzy. Ozzy was my favorite, but it was Ozzy, Def Leppard, and then it turned into Rat, Motley Crue, Dokken, Twisted Sister. A buddy of mine in high school, his nickname was Hippie. He introduced me to Metallica, the first couple records, and then I went into a different direction. That turned into Slayer and Megadeth. But so the 80s were kind of the hard, heavy metal, thrash metal that I was influenced by. So you had the 70s and you had the 80s, and that's kind of where I was in regards to my musical tastes. But I will say that I've been to a lot of concerts. I can talk about them. I probably will. A couple of them. I got a lot of really good stories, some funny ones as well. But I would say the band in the 80s, I think I was in the 11th grade, that really turned me into more of the hard thrash was the first time I heard a song called Peace Sells, but Who's Buying? That was Megadeth. So that kind of sums up, my high school years, as I was getting ready to graduate was Megadeth. Great band, the original lineup, awesome. Drummer, he's fantastic. He had a jazz influence. He was great. Ellison on bass, Poland on guitar, of course, Dave Mustaine. So I would say, that's kind of where my musical taste was. Of course, the Cult as well. I know a lot of people love electric, but I also like Love, which was the record before. But that's kind of where I was in the 70s and the 80s as far as my rock influences.